What if none of your money anxiety or struggle ever started with a bank balance? Or even your own choices? Because as you listen now, consider. You've worked, you've tried, you've promised yourself to do better. Still, the dread shows up, the script repeats, and no matter how hard you push, it seems something older and quieter keeps tugging at your heart every time you tell yourself to spend less, to save more, or to finally get it together. And while you might have called yourself undisciplined or unlucky, maybe, just maybe, the reason you can't break through is that you're living out a story set in motion long before you had a paycheck of your own. Imagine, even the simplest purchase is filtered through old, invisible rules. Rules you never consciously agreed to, but learned by heart. Because childhood is a powerful teacher. Whether money showed up as loud worry behind dinner table doors, a parent apologizing for what you could or couldn't have, or the near constant hush surrounding talk about bills, every little moment added up, not in dollars or cents, but in feelings. A flicker of fear, a tightening in your chest, a subtle sense that needing something is a risk, not just a request. It's easy to think the pattern began with your first job or your first late fee, but underneath, your nervous system is simply echoing what it learned much earlier. When money showed up, real security didn't always follow. And so these lessons become patterns, tiny, repeated instructions from the past that play themselves out every time you open a bank app or try to budget better. You find yourself holding back on things you need or desire, not just to be responsible, but because there's a voice inside that whispers, don't ask for more. Or maybe you overgive, rescue others, or avoid advocating for yourself at work. Not out of pure altruism, but because on some level, just enough feels safer than too much, and wanting more feels close to wrong. What's bewildering is how persistent the pattern can be. Even when your income changes or when opportunities knock, something tenses within you. That voice, no louder than a memory, warns, don't get used to it. It could all disappear. Stress arrives the moment an unexpected bill lands, or a coworker gets a raise and you wonder, who am I to ask for more? None of this is a moral flaw. This is what happens when scarcity, the emotional kind, gets written into your bones. You didn't choose to be stuck here, yet the loop repeats. Not because you haven't tried hard enough, but because your childhood mapped out a pattern that adulthood alone can't erase. And now, as an adult, you may play the safe game. Settle for less at work, pass on new roles, hesitate to negotiate. When an old friend asks you for help, you say yes, even if it pinches your wallet. Because saying no brings up an ancient guilt or fear of being too much. Every forward financial step is hounded by old beliefs you never voiced but internalized all the same. But now that you see the pattern, you have a choice, not to scold or hustle harder, but to pause, to truly notice. Because the first flicker of freedom starts when you catch yourself hesitating before spending for yourself and ask, whose voice is this? Maybe it's a variation of a parent's quiet apology, a neighbor's anxious budgeting out loud, or the absence of laughter when treats were mentioned. When you notice the moment, you can question it. Is this story really mine? Or did I pick it up by proximity, by loving adults who did their best while carrying wounds of their own? Owning the pattern gives you room to name what was never named. Try writing it out. Growing up, I learned that having just enough was safer than wanting more. But now I see my world is wider. I can create new rules. Nothing shifts faster than a story brought into the open, and your nervous system relaxes just a little with every truth you claim. And so the breakthrough doesn't come with a bigger budget or a stricter rule, but with small rebellions, acts of gentle defiance that reinforce your right to be cared for. It could be saying yes to a small pleasure, letting yourself rest without guilt, or asking for what you need from your boss, a friend, your family. Each act, tiny or brave, helps build new pathways until your body feels safer with enough, maybe even with more. Of course, in this journey, old guilt or anxiety will visit, especially at first. That's normal. Instead of pushing it away, you might speak kindly to the part of you still caught in the childhood pattern. Imagine comforting your younger self, the one who worried about asking, the one who learned to stay small to feel accepted. Offer a new message. It's okay to want more. Safety doesn't disappear when my needs grow. And little by little, as you keep doing this, you begin to write a new pattern. You become the grown-up giving your inner child what they always deserved. Permission, comfort, maybe even celebration for finally saying yes to themselves. You might feel awkward at first, almost like you're breaking a rule, but that's where growth happens. Each act of self-kindness rewires something long held in the dark. This is how the cycle ends. not with a lightning bolt, but with compassionate, repeated choice. Whenever you catch yourself falling back into the old story, remind yourself, I'm allowed to choose a new response. My past isn't a life sentence. My reality can change. If you wonder what practical step you can take today, try this. Pause before your next financial decision, big or small. Name what you feel: fear, guilt, hope, relief. Ask, is this emotion about now, or is it something much older returning for comfort? If it's familiar, respond with compassion, not critique. Choose one small way to honor your needs, even if it's uncomfortable. Say yes, set a limit, or invest in yourself just once. And as you do, let the experience land. Let yourself notice how different it feels, how the pattern tugs, but new confidence quietly gathers. You didn't create the old script, but starting now, moment by moment, you can rewrite it. No, it won't be instant. Yes, old patterns scream the loudest right before they break. But every gentle step toward abundance, asking for help, advocating for value, spending with intention, is a quiet revolution. And the world needs your revolution. By breaking free of childhood scarcity, you not only create peace for yourself, but you become the ancestor that future generations will thank for teaching that enough is a birthright, not a target. So now, let this be your invitation. Pay attention, gently, kindly. Notice what's old and what could truly be new. Practice a new pattern, one act at a time. Close the loop so shame and scarcity end with you. And freedom, real, steady, abundant, can begin.